Welcome to Bite-Sized Reviews, where we cut horror into bite-sized portions. Today we're going to be slicing into Willy's Wonderland and Shook, both of which are 2021 movies. So Willy's Wonderland is the most recent Nicolas Cage horror movie, and can I just take a moment to say that I really appreciate Nicolas Cage taking his career in this direction. We've seen him in Mom and Dad.
You do the hokey and you fucking work it all out!
We've seen him in Mandy. We've seen him in Color Out of Space. Just making these really good, weird horror movies. Nicolas Cage's penchant for overacting
I never misspelled anything! Not once, not one time!
Definitely lends itself well to the horror genre. In roles where he needs to play crazy, he can definitely get that across. But in Willy's Wonderland in particular, we have a very interesting case with Nicolas Cage, because he's kind of understated in a way. Kinda. In a way that he has no dialogue. We're introduced to him as this Rambo-esque drifter. All that we know is that he's put in charge of being the live-action version of the player character from Five Nights at Freddy's. Yes, the Five Nights at Freddy's comparison for this movie are unavoidable. But let me just say, I've been really waiting for something that gives us that perfect balance between childlike innocence and absolute horrificness, in the same way that Five Nights at Freddy's does, in a horror movie setting. I was hoping that that would be the Banana Splits movie, it just wasn't. It didn't manage to balance the two well enough for my liking. Something like Willy's Wonderland does. And then on top of that, we get Nicolas Cage in his most badass role yet. If I do have one complaint about this movie, it's that it did get kind of repetitive after a while. You get Nicolas Cage just kind of going through his routine, beating up these animatronics, and it is very funny for the first little while, but it doesn't really build to anything past that. I was able to predict the majority of the plot points long before they happened. It's a very one-note movie, but that being said, that one note is extremely enjoyable. I love seeing Nicolas Cage in this role, and I love the animatronics that they gave us. As with everything that I cover in my bite-sized reviews, if this is something that you'd like to see me give a full review to sometime, then give a comment down below. Movies that get the most interest will definitely get pushed forward on the list. 7 slutty fairy animatronics out of 10.
Wanna fuck, daddy?
Shook is a Shudder exclusive, and if you're one of those people who doesn't have access to it, then let me fill you in on what you're missing. The movie follows this social media influencer. As much as I do feel like the ways that social media have changed society is a talking point, I don't feel like a lot of these movies deal with it very well, so I did have the automatic instinct to cringe when I saw that this was what the movie was about. The thing that I think keeps Shook alive is just how many twists and turns you get along the way. When you're introduced to the story, you think it's one thing, and then as things progress, you realize that you don't really understand what's going on here. There are points in the movie where the character is faced with choices that are just sickening to think about. But then things just continue in such a surreal, confusing way that you never feel like you have a full grasp on the situation. When the end came, and no spoilers, but I'm going to say I feel like I probably should have seen it coming. It just felt so right with the rest of the story, it flowed so well. I do think that it's the ending that redeemed the entire movie for me. So I'm going to say, if you're going to watch this movie, you might have to resist your initial urge to turn it off. I know, I understand, it's going to come. And I'm not gonna say that this movie doesn't rely on horror tropes, it definitely does. It just knows how to use those tropes in such a way that it keeps things fresh and interesting, so I definitely recommend experiencing it for yourself. 6 hashtags out of 10. Thank you so much for joining me here today, my pets, and I will see you next time.
You know what?
Although donating to my Patreon is unnecessary, it is hugely appreciated. As little as $3 a month could help me put out many more videos. In that note, I would like to thank Wilson L. Ricks III, Scott Falks, and Andre K. Thank you so much for your support. It means the world to me. I can't wait to see you all next time.